All rise for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we get an approval of the minutes?
I have approval of the town board workshop minutes from April 18th and the town board meeting minutes from April 21st and the acceptance of the town clerk's April monthly report.
I move that we accept those minutes as submitted and the report as submitted.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the bills.
I have approval of the general fund number 19289 through 19314 and 19329 through 19332. Highway bills number 19315 through 19328. And water bills 321 through 323. And I also have three other ones. I have one for the Minuteman Press for $7,773.86. The District 17 Little League for $120, and the Roosters from Route 82 for $36.47.
Can I get a motion on the bills?
I move that we pay those bills.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Supervisor statement. Thank you, everyone in attendance, everyone watching at home on our YouTube channel tonight. I'm going to make this short. May is the month we celebrate Memorial Day. The flags are flying, and we are standing together to thank our veterans with us and the ones we have lost. I ask that everyone joins us at our parade on May 30th in town to say thank you for your service to all we lost and all that are still with us. If you see a veteran, walk up to them and say thank you for your service to this country, because without them, we would not have our freedom. In preparation for Memorial Day, we have hung 20 more hometown heroes banners honoring those who served from Pine Plains. This brings our grand total to 75. A special thanks goes to Greg Pulver, Bob Clinch, and Genokio Electric and his crew for the hard work getting this done. That's all
I add one thing.
Absolutely.
I see that the North Main lots are cleaned up. Was that you're doing? They're mowed at least?
Bobby Lee must have
Okay. well,
been there.
I thought that was- I'd like to just say thank you for what you did.
We're gonna, there's another organization that's gonna go and clean up some more of the trees to make it a little bit better looking before Memorial Day.
Okay. But it looks
So
100%
that was on
better.
the to-do list, yes. Public comment. Just state your name.
Scott Chase. My question was, what was happening with the sewer district? I thought that I read in December that the board unanimously voted to move ahead with a map plan and report. And there's only two new votes on the board, so are the other three votes still? Is it going ahead? What's happening?
I thought at last meeting, we said we're waiting on Teagan Baum, right, for the next step with the map, right, of them creating the map for us,
The map plan report.
the map plan report.
Yeah, I had reached out to them. I did not heard back from her as far as the status of that.
But we did bring that up at the last meeting too.
Yeah,
so,
last
yeah.
Again, it comes down to here, 40 years ago, we had 75% from the feds and 12.5% from the state. With the infrastructure bill that passed, you have the possibility of getting like 90% of the sewer district funded. Please don't blow it, move it along, push the people.
Lenora Champagne, Carpenter Hill Road. I'm asked in February, what the plans were for the American Rescue Funds. And I was told that you were discussing it. And I know at the last meeting, Ray, I believe his name, brought up the idea of using the funds for the water project. And I know we have a culvert that needs attention. And the sewer project and broadband access, no shortage of, the police need cameras in their cars, no shortage of a need for funds. And I noticed that Ancrum's report was posted on their website April 21st. And they got less money than we did, but, and they're a smaller town. But I would hope that, I know you're all here because you love the town, but I would hope that you could move forward with how you're going to allocate those funds to make the report so we can have access to that money, which we really need.
My name is Suzanne Willett. I live on Lake Shore Drive in Pine Plains, and I guess I'm going to second a lot of what Lenora said. I was part of a small group of people who wrote a letter via email that went to each of you, asking about the, guess it's the next step in these relief funds of that program. Our understanding was it was an April 30th deadline, by which the town had to get a plan detailing what the town was going to do. So the concern, we never got a response. And our concern is that what happens? Did we blow it because we missed the deadline, or?
No, a preliminary plan was submitted. It's not a plan that's set in stone. We received the first half of the money. We have not received the second half of the money. That's due, I believe, August, correct?
Not sure.
I believe it's due in August. And we have, I don't know the exact, I think it's 2024. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 2024. We have it to use it. But
So we made the April 30th deadline.
yes, so filing, yes.
Don't we have to file a report on our plans for how to spend the money? And
Preliminary,
doesn't that have to be discussed publicly?
it was preliminary plans. You don't have to stick right to that. I contacted the comptroller and I also contacted Dutchess County in regards to this. So,
And we have discussed the issue.
yes. that is
We just
correct.
had, a final determination has not been made, but a number of the potential projects have been discussed in board meetings.
Correct.
Would this be a topic that could come up at a workshop? So there could be
Yes,
extra folks in town. to
Yes.
develop?
yes.
Hi, sorry, I'm Greta Anderson. I live right in town, 3066 Church Street. I have a proposal, some local neighbors and I have a proposal to ask the town to please put in a crosswalk over 199 from Academy Street, on the corner of Academy Street and 199. It's just a very busy area. The cars coming into town don't seem to want to slow down by the time they get, they're supposed to slow down before they get there. And we just have a lot of foot traffic there. I know a lot of people in the area that do that sort of loop walk. They walk around there. I have 3 children who are walking to school. I have neighbors across the street who have children that will be walking to school next year. And so we would like to please ask that be something that we can put in. Yeah, I have a letter that I can give to you.
It's also the only natural connection of our sidewalk paths there from the street, because we don't have one, like say on my side of the street of Academy sidewalk. It connects the opposite side. And we have clocked a few cars waiting for the bus at like 62 miles per hour coming down. So, and that's during why we're waiting for the bus. So
Is that crossing Academy?
it would be going to Doug Hart's. There's an email with some pictures. This one, we're asking for this one. I'm gonna just join in with her because my wife is a part of this as well. The reason they're asking for this is the town would need to pass a resolution to pass to the state. And then we figured that if they wanted to do one between Academy Street, just that little one there, that would be a town project. So we wouldn't have to deal with the state at all. But the one that is being proposed right now is on a state highway. So it would require a resolution by the town to send to.
We
the
should
state.
include, if we're gonna do one across the Catamount, we should include it because the state has jurisdiction for signage.
Oh,
and
okay.
Things like that within a certain distance of the intersection. So if we include it, it may be redundant, but
Okay.
you know, it will be something I will.
I don't have a problem with it.
I have no-
I'm totally in
No problem.
favor of that.
Yeah.
Well,
So we could have somebody
We'll
draft
get a
up a
resolution.
resolution and we
Yes,
could pass it.
Can some of us be working on a grant for the sewer program depending the report instead of waiting until the report comes in? I'm just concerned with what Scott brought up, that we miss deadlines. I'm very concerned about deadlines for grants in general, and thinking that we should avail ourselves of as much grant money as possible, because we don't have that big, a tax base. It's just, it would really make a difference. We have a lot of expenses. That's the one thing I hear from January, is that running a town is super expensive, and there's a million things, for places where the money can go and where it's needed.
I mean, I have no problem with your volunteering your time to write for grants. I would say have at it.
But as long as it's not at cross purposes with what the board wants.
Yeah.
I don't want to be at cross purposes. I'm
No.
just-
Well, that's just, I understand that you don't want to, but we just have to make sure that it isn't. You know, anything that you did submit would have to be in the name of the town, so we would have to, you know, approve whatever you were submitting. And what we were told up front was that you cannot do this until you have the map and plan prepared. That's the next step before you then submit for grants, but getting a head start on what's out there and, and just the basic verbiage, the words, I'm more than happy.
But also, with the sewer project, I think it's very important to understand that that sewer project doesn't impact all the residents of the town. It only impacts a small number of residents, and the rest of the residents of the town are not going to foot the financial bill. So it's a rather narrow approach to this problem, and we're following those constrictions there, and we are moving forward as best we can on that. And hopefully we'll be in a position for, if the sewer project gets adopted by the people who get impacted by it, which is how it actually happens, then the funding for that, hopefully the money will still be available for that. I understand Scott's concern, but it's a very different type of undertaking than other town-wide undertakings in terms of the involvement of the town board as well.
So Carrie Hannon, I just wanted to build on what Greta said about the crosswalk, which is that we still would like to get a crosswalk in front of the library, right?
We are working with that. So when I called the state to figure all this out, I asked them about that as well, because we're trying to group them all into one, because we're gonna have to pay a subcontractor to come and paint the lines, and we have approval, but we had to cut out a curve on the other side. So yes, I was on that one as well.
Okay, and then just since I haven't finished my rant yet about the speed limit, I'll just add to it. Since you just said that you clocked someone going 62 miles an hour through a 35 mile an hour in town, and you want to put a crosswalk in, which I'm not sure that will stop people from going 62 miles an hour, but certainly in favor of a crosswalk. I clocked someone going 70 miles an hour on 199 in front of my children's bus stop 2 nights ago, following them from Millerton. They went almost 70 miles an hour the entire road from Millerton to here, which is kind of mind-boggling considering how winding it is. And then they went out 515, which is about when my kids get off the school bus, flew by my house at 70 miles an hour. So I'm just going to reiterate that I know it's a big deal, but I really think we should work on getting this speed limit limited on 199 outside of town and then lower inside of town to 25 or 30 miles an hour, which is what it is in the other towns. Because at 35 miles an hour, they don't go through at 35. They go through at a minimum of 45, unless there's, police officer sitting there waiting to pick them off.
So at the last
Just gonna
meeting,
say it one more time.
at the last meeting though, Chief Hughes did report that he sat.
I
But,
saw them there twice.
okay.
It's not during school bus hours. They're there during the day. They need to be there in the morning and in the evening, sorry, when people are going to work. Because that's when they're racing through there. They're not racing through there in the middle of the day when most people aren't going to work. They're racing through at 7 o'clock in the morning, when they're 7:30, when they're trying to go to work, or at 5:30 when they're trying to come home. And that's when they're really speeding by. So that's when the police need to be out there, in my personal opinion. But I also think that it's a larger problem than having a police officer sitting there and giving people tickets. I think still is a speed issue that needs to be addressed at a higher level, which is lowering the speed limit. And I know it's a lot of work, but I think it will be worth it to the town and the safety of the town and our children to actually try and accomplish that.
In the police department's defense, I do know Officer Cameron was out there at 6 o'clock multiple mornings after that last board meeting that
Thank
you
you.
came, and he has wrote tickets in that area.
The tickets, good. People are speeding.
But this
There
is
you
also a state road though, so
No,
we
I-
have to, it's
I
a state petition. We can't do anything as a town.
And it's not a guarantee that it will go down either.
No, I understand, but it doesn't, it starts from this, it starts at the local level and then it moves through the process. So we, the speed study, I totally get the challenges of it being a state road. I'm not saying, oh, just get them to change speed limit. I understand it's a huge hurdle, but I think it would be a hurdle that would be beneficial to the town on many levels if someone were to take it on.
Yes, Heather.
You might want to check your records. I think that has been petitioned before to the state. Has it not done? Do you recall that? For speed limit reduction, and I think we were turned down. So you might,
Okay, well, I'll just say in 2022 versus whenever you did the speed study, which it may have been turned down, there is a significant amount more traffic up here than there was 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So, and I appreciate the fact that it may have been done and turned down before, but I do think that there is more traffic here now and there are more people going faster. So I think it could be, the time change could be relevant in another
yeah,
study.
you may just want to check your records to see if you do decide to do anything. I think it was done before.
I can ask Mike Manning, because he was involved in it.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll ask Mike Manning.
Thank you, Laura.
Sure. I have a simple thing. I'm Ann New, I live on Pineview Drive, and I was wondering if we could get some kind of a truck here, because other towns have gotten it, that does shredding for people, even if we had to charge people to bring their shredding in, like on a Saturday and fall or something. Because there's a lot of
What other,
shredding papers and stuff.
yeah, what other town does that? Because I've actually never heard that before. That's,
Sals, I know other people do it in Salisbury, in Danbury, they do it. I don't know whether they do it. I think they did it in Milton too. I'm not completely sure. But I know a lot of people in the Connecticut area that have had it done. And the company is Iron Mountain.
Well, maybe we could look into it for town cleanup day.
Yeah.
You know, like add it.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
$5 or $10.
Don't, well, it's
to
cool.
have this shredded done. But I think that would be nice service for us, people who have lots of stuff.
did you have something?
No, I mean, we had looked at it as a Lions Club. It would be a decent fundraiser for an organization because it really isn't that expensive.
Right.
But a lot of them are done by the local banks. The
Yeah.
Salisbury one, you know, they and several other of their branches have done it, so it's a nice, it covers the area nicely.
Right. And if you've advertised it, I'm sure you would get a lot of people that have a lot of stuff. that they want.
Maybe the Bank of Pembroke would be interested. Because that parking lot in back would be a perfect place.
Yeah.
It's a good,
Anybody else have anything?
Actually, just regarding the crosswalks, specifically the one in front of the library, there was a SAM grant application that was submitted to the state going back to when Brian was supervisor. And I know that the towns had quite some time trying to find out the status of that and actually get a contract in place. But that project was actually being funded through that SAM grant.
So
Along with other sidewalk repairs.
when I talked to, they couldn't tell me whether or not it was actually approved or not. So I was actually gonna ask Madeline if her and Judy could maybe dig up the paperwork on that and find it, because for the crosswalk,
I'm sorry, who's approval? I'm sorry.
the state, so I, yeah, I got,
DOT did approve it.
they did, okay,
Yes,
so I had to
but-
call the District 8 office.
Correct, but
Okay.
there was a permit that actually was issued for that. The project went out to bid, but we were unable to get any contractors to bid on it. So that's why Brian had looked into actually getting a SAM grant and lumping together other sidewalk improvements. It's front of the Spud Shack is one other area, there's the area around 199 and 82 as well. And by lumping those projects together and getting the funding, it became a larger project that hopefully would be more appropriate for contractors to come in and bid on it. So there was a permit that was issued for it. You'd have to go and get a renewal on that permit for that crosswalk. But it'd be interesting to find out if somebody could reach out. I don't know if there's a file as far as who the last contact at the state level was regarding that same grant.
Oh, we have access to this
So,
website.
so
Yeah.
again, just that might help
Good.
with financing some of the improvements. But there was a DOT permit issue.
Okay, well, that's what we were talking about on the phone, and then, because I was going to see if our highway department could help, but we don't have any of the equipment to actually do it, so.
Yeah, because you have
Yeah.
to cut the curb, you have to
Yeah.
provide a drop curb in that area, provide the detectable warning strips.
It's a lot more complicated than I thought it was gonna be.
It's the DOT. New York State Department of Transportation.
Out there with your roller.
Yeah.
Definitely more than that.
No, we haven't discussed that, but the library is interested in seeing whether the issue with the door and the problems with the door have been addressed, and if there's,
I'm still waiting for the company to come up and look at it.
okay, so it's
So-
still on the agenda.
I'm trying to get the propane tank situation taken care of, that's on the agenda for later tonight to get that taken care of. Anything else? Town attorney's report. Only thing that Warren sent over was the resolution for the public hearing for next month for the Cablevision franchise renewal agreement. Did you guys all
Yeah.
receive that?
Yeah.
I move that we
Okay.
authorize that.
I'll second it.
Do we have to have a roll call or no?
You have to have a roll call, yes, and it states that we will have a public hearing on June 16th at 7:10 PM here at the town hall.
All right. Supervisor Walsh,
Yes.
Councilman Ambrose,
Yes.
Councilman Bartles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones, Councilman Zick.
Aye. Were we expecting a lot of attendance? Should we move that one to the community center?
Yeah, it's town hall and right.
Okay.
That's up to you guys.
I just feel if people are gonna come.
I don't know if everybody knew, but Warren had a significant heart attack and he had to have bypass surgery, so he's in the process of healing. Still trying to work from either home or his office, but not up to coming to meetings yet.
Department reports, highway.
Some of the road maintenance projects have begun. Shoulder cutting is complete and we will be starting our blacktopping in preparation for our chip sealing projects. We should be sealing in late July if all goes well and the weather cooperates. Right now, and this depends on how much blacktop we end up using and the cost of the blacktop in terms of getting the roads prepared. I have set tentatively for chip sealing Briarcliff Lane, Fire Lane, a section of Lake Road from Route 199 to Beach Road, Lakeshore Drive, and the southern side of Streeter Farm Road. Maple Street will actually be going undergoing a pavement reconstruction, which is contracted out by Callahan Industries. That road needs a little bit more than we are able to provide, so we're contracting that one out. Our roadside mowing operations are currently underway. I also wanted to let you know that I have received word from Brian Skorlik, who is from Dutchess County Soil and Water, that the Dutchess County will be providing us with assistance with the engineering costs associated with the Woodward Hill culvert replacement. They are going to cover and assist us with not to exceed 50% of what we've been provided by CPL for an estimate for the charges and the planning for that. So that means that the estimate from CPL was $37,500, and Dutchess County will be helping us with $18,750 towards those fees. That is the first step that we need to take in order to approach the DEC for any permitting for the structure that's going to be used, to see if they'll approve all of that. And we'll be able to get a better idea then of the cost of the project.
And what do you think the time frame will be for that project?
We should be receiving the plans, let's see, April, I contacted George from CPL and he said that he thought within, was it 6 to 8 weeks? If we got those plans up and running, that we would be in line then for other grant awards that may be coming out from the DEC funded projects. So we're hoping to see, I would say, by June, something from CPL with regards to the plans, and then we can go ahead and see where we go from there. It might be a good idea to maybe have George come by Zoom or come to a meeting to report on that also, to see where we're at. And I'll update you as much as I can, definitely, but you may have questions for him as well. The last thing that I have to report is that I have finally received the last and final price revision for the dump truck, which I promised I would come back to you with. There were contract negotiations and there were some supply issues. So there is an increase of $4,652.64 for the cab and chassis only. The body and the plow equipment is not going to see any increase. So that brings our total price for this truck with an anticipated build date for the first quarter of 2023 to $268,999.94. And that would hopefully be fully outfitted and ready to go for that late 2023, early 2024 snow season. And I just want to bring it to your attention. I know you did, we approved 2 times, I believe, the price on the truck and to go ahead with the purchase, but this is the final. So before I sign that new PO order to have them place this on the order board, I'd like to get your last and final approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
I just would like a little bit of a report on the beaver traps on Twin Island Lake
Sure.
and when they went in and what the results of their being there have been.
So I know that this culvert has been an issue for quite some time. I do appreciate everyone's concern with that body of water, as do I. I am also an animal lover and I do not like what we have to do there, but I have a job to do. The beaver traps go in when we see that there is a problem with the beaver plugging the grate that we have in front of the culvert. It is a constant. There will be times where they are removed, and if the beaver comes again, then they're put back in. The beaver that we have there are becoming very smart. The guys are there every day checking on that and removing the debris. We have tried a beaver deterrent device in the past, which worked very well up until I believe it was the fall of 2021, where there was just so much debris from the mud and everything else that was being packed in there that had to be removed. I had the crew reconstruct and put that deterrent device in, I think at least 2 to 3 times throughout my tenure here. The one that we have at the other end between Mud Pond and Sissing Lake functions well. The beaver are controlled down there and it doesn't get packed with stuff, not as much as the other one. The trapper that we use monitors those traps every day. He has to, that is the law. He goes out there every day. He will also help clean the debris away, but he checks to make sure there's nothing stuck in there, that they haven't been tripped, and then he will reset them if they have. He will remove any beaver that are there, which is,
What's the result of the beaver?
they are killed. We are not allowed to relocate them by DEC regulations.
No, but how many have we caught there?
I'd have to go back to my records to tell. I do get a photograph every time that he gets one, so I'd have to tally that to see exactly how many. He does monitor again for activity. You can clearly see if they're there, if they're crossing the road. It's an active location. So it's, and I cannot allow for the culverts to be plugged within the town. It's part of my job. This is one of the more active locations. So that is why it seems that we are there more than others, because it is active. I will also raise the issue, as I've said before, because I know that the concern about the water level in that water body and everything else that goes along with it, and the flooding issues and the facts that are stated that it will never flood. It is not just that water body and that culvert that is an issue. It is Stissing Lake as well. And as I've said many times before, we have 2 culverts that exit Stissing Lake into Mud Pond.
You mean Thompson Pond?
I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted to
Stissing,
make
thank you for
sure.
the correction.
Okay.
From Stissing into Thompson. They are undersized, underserved. If we have any kind of excess water accumulation, breaching of anything, and it starts to affect Stissing Lake and needs to get through Thompson, and we've had blockages past Thompson, which I cannot do anything about, and Thompson starts to back up, then it comes back. And at some point, we will have to look into those culverts that are between Stissing and Thompson as well. They have been identified by, I can't remember who did the study, but years ago, there was a study done by, do you remember who that is?
No,
I can't recall. The Chazen.
It's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's a while. They have been identified as definitely underserved. And that is my job, is to prevent any of that from spiraling out of control. So that's why the beaver traps are there, and that's why we do what we do.
Okay, I personally feel that the beaver traps are a danger to the public.
We have erected a sign that says danger to keep people out.
I understand that, but there's no indication that they are beaver traps or what they are, or the kind of injury that could happen with them. And I'm concerned because I think there's major liability on the part of the town, and they're very, very close to the road. And it's definitely something that concerns me.
So I have researched every other type of beaver control method and spoken to the trapper, and this is the most effective. He has used other types of traps, which are then submerged, and those are definitely hidden from the public. These are at least viewable.
But when you look at them, there's nothing that would tell you what it was.
We have,
And children are very
I
apt
understand.
to be there. In fact, there was an incident, we know, the first good weather weekend of the year.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, I am extremely concerned about it.
Maybe we can ask Ken when he comes to do the geese, because he does all nuisance animals. Maybe he has a different way of
Approach, I
doing
don't
it for
know,
the
I don't
traps.
know, but it troubles me that there are those traps there within a few feet of the road where the public uses that road
I
constantly.
would not.
It is
have-
a recreational thoroughfare.
Well, as I said, I've spoken to the DEC officer in which the complaint was filed on the town, myself, for those traps. He checked out everything that we are doing. We are not in violation in any way, shape, or form.
I'm not saying you're in violation
I
of anything.
understand.
I'm saying as a town board
I
member,
understand.
I'm concerned about the safety of the public and the
we are-
safety of our children.
Absolutely, I understand, and that's why we have the danger sign there. We cannot put the traps in the water any further. It would be out of our right of way. Then I would not be able to maintain the culvert, and the culvert would, as I said, the progression of the culvert plugging would then be other efforts. I mean, that it would impact further down the line. So I mean, I've made my good faith effort in terms of beaver control. This is controlling them. We have done everything we can to warn the public. We can't put flags there. Well, that's it kind of defeats the purpose, but there is a danger sign. And I would give it a danger sign, have a sign made up.
Well,
beaver
the
traps
danger
and
sign means
geese.
there's water. Water is dangerous. It's like, it's meaningless. But
Maybe you would say metal trap that can grab your leg.
I
Because
will-
there's like
that's fine.
10-year-old kids that are fishing there. You're
absolutely, absolutely.
We can certainly.
It's an
make a different
ongoing,
sign
it's
to
an
protect.
ongoing liability.
Can I say something? There were photographs were taken of a very large turtle that caught. And a little boy wanted to rescue the turtle. And boys and girls do that. And I mean, it could have been awful. I mean, it was bad for the turtle, big turtle. And then these kids getting excited and thinking they had to do something to free it. And I mean, it could. So that's the kind of thing I think Sarah was worried about. And it's happened. So.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Thank you, Heather.
Builder inspector.
My report for April, 9 building permits. Brings the total number for the year up to 33 already. There's 2 new houses this month, which brings the total of new houses up to 6 for the year. 3 certificate of occupancies issued, 1 certificate of occupancy search, and 22 site inspections done. I've been trying to do something about the debris on Hoffman Road, where unfortunately that home exploded. I sent a letter out March 23rd to the owner's wife, just a friendly letter, just stating that, you know, something needs to be done. I'm going to talk to her about a schedule. I got no response. So on April 26th, I sent out a first class and a certified letter order of compliance to clean it up. Again, no response and no return. So the post office isn't kicking them back to me. So I guess the assumption can be made of 3 mailings that something's getting through. I've tried to phone call 6 times. First 5 said that the customer's not accepting calls at this time. The last call I made said the number is a non-working number now. So I don't really know what to do. I was going to speak to Warren about it. Unfortunately, you know, he's out of commission. I don't know what step to take next.
I have one question for you though, not about that one though. Today, there was an excavator right next to Stewart's there between 83
Yeah, right now.
and they looked to me like a wetland area.
We were just talking about that. I had, like, when this whole project started behind Stewart's, I called the DEC because there was some stuff going on there. And they came and they stopped them for a couple weeks to get a permit. So they should be monitoring the area. I'll call them again.
DEC was there today.
Okay.
They said
good.
they have no record of that area, that it's possibly Army Corps of
It
Engineers.
probably is federal, yeah.
So to try to get a hold of someone on that end, if anybody has any better
Sounds like
ideas.
buckets of
Well,
water coming out.
But the bad news is that I think that the federal wetlands is not right where it's digging right now. It's more in the back area.
No,
But
that's
it was
the
close.
No, that's the DEC wetland. The DEC wetland is further
Is
to
it
the
further?
rear, and that's why.
Okay.
as the
Okay.
supervisor
Yeah, they have
said,
Oh,
nothing.
All right.
It's
yeah.
It's actually outside of the DEC regulated wetland. So
Correct.
it is not part of a New York State DEC wetland. However, the water course itself most probably is an Army Corps wetland.
It's a small pond right about now.
Yeah, like
When I passed-
I went by and I didn't know what was going on. It was like buckets of water and it was
I
right
noticed
next
just
to the road.
yesterday, I
So
stopped at Stewart's and it was filling up.
I noticed
my
it this
tank,
morning.
and I happened to look across the way and the excavator was.
Yeah.
Like in there, like it was buckets of water. I
got
called.
hold of them after the fact, too.
I have a contact for the Army Corps, so.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, good.
I'll contact them. The other thing coming up is lawn mowing season. So I'll be sending out order compliances at the end of the month. We have several in town coming to mow.
Yeah.
That'll be our next issue.
Some people participate in No Mow May, which helps the bees.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, none of us
Well,
should
because
be
until
having
like the buds on the
lawns,
trees come in,
actually.
the bees have nothing to feed on, except for the dandelions, ground ivy and the violets. But I mean, I don't partake in it, but that could be their excuse.
Police Department.
I'm Officer Cameron filling in for OIC Sergeant Hughes and Sergeant Belleville. For court hours was a total of 11, patrol 215 hours. Admin hours for the sergeants, 28 hours. Investigation, 3 hours. Training, 13 hours. Vehicle, another total of 15.5 hours for a total of 285.5 hours. We answered 16 complaints, 2 fire and EMS calls, 1 accident. We've had 38 traffic warnings, 47 traffic tickets, one parking ticket, one parking warning, one DWI, and 2 arrests. For a total of 100 each. Also, Sergeant Hughes, he attended a Dutchess County Chief Police meeting. Myself and Officer Parada attended training and completed a refresher course for DWI. That is our report.
I just want to raise the issue that was mentioned last month about whether this board should raise the fines on our parking violations. Because currently, apparently, the parking violations, it's almost not worth even giving them. We have very low levels of fines that make it kind of not worthwhile. That's my understanding. I just wonder if we want to address that issue and do something about that.
Do you have a suggestion of a new price or?
I don't
Because
know.
I'm okay with it, because if it doesn't like,
The town parking tickets are $20, but also we can write under the New York State V&T law, parking on pavement, which increases the fine a lot. So the thing is with the town parking, it's $20. If you raise it, a couple bucks or something like that, compared to what the state is gonna charge. I mean, the choice is, well, we would have to redo the parking tickets that the town has for issuing instead of writing it on the New York State V&T law. Because the handwritten parking tickets that we have are obsolete. It doesn't have as much detail on there that we need to fill out a parking ticket.
Well, the issue is what the board wants to do. We want to do something about that.
That's extremely low.
I was just gonna say, I would keep my car that, like, if I knew I was
know.
doing it, I you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
the problem. That's the problem. It's not,
could
it's not a deterrent, and.
I would be okay with $100, because then, $100 is, a hit to somebody's, you know what I mean? Like, you won't get repeat offenders compared to like $20, like some people would just be like,
Correct.
it's a waste of my time, but if you
Right.
get hit $100 every time, like that's a.
Is it really the problem? I'm not aware of the problem.
I don't know. I don't know.
But
I
it
just
is
know-
super
I
cheap.
just know that it was raised, and it's not what, it was raised last month, and that wasn't the first time I had heard it raised. And I just was wondering if it's time to do something to address that.
What is prompting the whole discussion?
There is multiple incidences that, for parking, either at the bank parking lots, the municipal
Right.
parking, behind, the apartment buildings there, at the elementary school, Academy Street, there's only certain spots that you can park, which is, as you're looking at Academy down towards Myrtle, it would be on the left-hand side, right where the fence line is, where the kids go out for gym. I think that's the only section that doesn't have any signs that say no parking. But down on the right-hand side, it goes from, I want to say at the beginning of Academy, all the way down to Myrtle, which the signs say no parking or standing between 8 AM till 4 PM. And that includes the other side where the kids are, the playground is up to the school's driveway for the buses. So the thing is, when somebody parks there to stand or to stop to let their children out, it's impeding traffic. Also, it's causing a hazard for the crosswalk because the car is there. Kids are coming across, a car that's traveling down cannot see a kid coming around into the crosswalk. So you're looking at somebody getting struck by a car, or it makes it hard for buses to get around cars to get into the driveway.
I witnessed that all day long.
Should we consider expanding our no parking or standing area? And I would be in favor of a initial fine of 25, second fine 100. I would go that way,
Okay. Fine.
something like that, but are we writing tickets now for that?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
A few, though. You don't see very many parking tickets on the reports.
Well, like I said,
Right.
the handwritten tickets that we have are obsolete because they don't have enough information for us to write on there. So we are writing the B&T law for the New York State.
Okay,
which the fine is a lot higher.
okay.
And we're not getting it, the state's getting it.
I think so.
Well, let's change that.
I'd like to see a new draft.
I think we should address this problem.
And I would.
And maybe we go $50 to start, $50 to start, then $100.
50 is, my idea was the one.
Right.
Yeah, but still only going up $50 would be more of a, I'm not gonna do it again.
Again, like at 25, I feel that you'll
Yeah,
like,
I know, it's like,
Too.
all right.
But anyhow.
All right, well, let's,
Yeah.
we should do
So,
something.
We'll
draft
bring
a
it-
resolution. in
yeah, we'll
regards
bring it up to
that.
John too. Like, we'll see
Yeah.
what John thinks.
Right, and
Right,
also,
and see what we can
I-
do.
if it's, we should be printing new tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
With the
should get new
proper
tickets.
information and that.
We should upgrade. the
Who's the
whole-
liaison to the police? You? Bring that up to John. Because I would support buying new tickets,
Definitely.
if ours
To be
are.
honest with you, we should be able to computerize them right on the computers they have in the cars, so
That's right.
Well, that's,
it's just a matter of a programming issue. There's no
Okay.
reason why any of us are writing regular paper tickets anymore. So,
didn't even think about that.
Officer Cameron, is that all you have?
Yes. Is
Thank
there
you.
any questions for me?
Oh,
Just if you can include some of these other problem areas that were discussed tonight as far as the speeding, and see if you and the rest of the officers can come up with a schedule which sort of matches school buses for a while.
which
Yeah.
I've spoken to, Officer in Charge Hughes and Sergeant Belgic
Good.
yesterday in regards to this.
Yeah,
And-
so
and
the best way for us to tailor patrols is for people to come to us and put in complaints. So we can best tailor our patrols to the hours that need to be. Because like the buses go all different hours, they come through at different hours. So it's hard for us to be at some location, you know, like you, ma'am, saying that you're 7 o'clock, right? That's when the bus usually comes through.
7:30, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, we're usually going around town checking the areas and stuff like that, you know. We can't just sit on one road at one time or another, so.
You're not my own personal police officer?
Me personally, I wish I could be everybody's personal police officer. But, you know, if we get more complaints, you know, it would help us tailor our patrols to those areas that need to be enforced.
I'm wondering what people think about the electrified signs that tell you how fast you're going, whether people think that those are useful. If we put one of those coming right into town to tell somebody that they're going way over the speed limit.
We can.
Another one in Stanfordville, I'm going 40 by it every time now. You know what I mean? They have one going right in there.
Ankrum has been playing with those, and I just don't know
I
how
can make a phone call and see if we can
successful
get
those
one.
are.
Right.
We can
That
get
would
one
be-
up here
I
online.
think it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
Particularly that entry to the town.
Right
From
here.
190,
Right here.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'll make the phone call tomorrow.
Great.
So they can see they're going 62 when they're passing by. kids.
Water Department.
Monthly report has been submitted to the health department. The average flows remain fairly consistent in the low 50s, so 53,000, which is past month. I'd expect for that to start climbing a little bit as people start filling up their pools and watering gardens and lawns and things of that nature. So we'll keep an eye on it. 6 meter heads were replaced this past month. 1 meter head or 1 meter was rebuilt. The new service water lines to the several buildings down at Sissing Farms they've been inspected. I actually drew an email just confirming that those were done. So they were okay and they can backfill those, and I'll send that out to you tomorrow. Both chlorinators were cleaned and rebuilt. Had a total of 21 utility markouts, which is a record for us this past month. Most of those had to do with utility poles. So it seems as though Central Hudson would be replacing, or their contract will be replacing quite a few utility poles on Myrtle, or excuse me, not Myrtle, but Poplar, Farview, North Main, Pine, Maple, and then Beach, as well as Lake Road.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few that they propose to replace. So I have to go out and buy more ink paint because I went through all my cans. But yeah, that's the most that we've done in a month. The annual water quality report has been completed. It was sent into Department of Health. They've approved it. I provided copies to the board members. Copies will be sent with the next billing cycle. And it'll also be posted on the town website as well as required by the state. So I'm proud to notify everyone that there were approximately 900 or 395 samples that were taken over the past year, and that was testing over 50 potential contaminants, including PFOAs, PFOSs, which have been in the news quite a bit. And we did not exceed any of we had no violation, we did not exceed any of the criteria as far as New York State or the EPA. As far as the PFOA and PFOS and dioxins, we actually had no traces of that at all. So it's not detected in our water system at all. So again, we'll be sending those out to all of the customers, and we'll be providing extra hard copies here at the town hall for people to look at or pick up if they so choose to do so. The property at the end of Beach Road, that's where we had a significant leak over the winter. And that was off-road. We actually had to go onto the private property. It's heading down towards Stissing Lake. We actually didn't know that there was that 2-inch galvanized line down in that area. But I'd like to thank the highway department for fixing up that area. The repair was done back in the winter, but since it was so wet, the contractor was going to be doing more damage to the area. So we waited for it to dry out, and the highway department went back in and actually cleaned up the area for us. So we appreciate that. I've also started to process and compiling the initial information for the district-wide water service inventory. I mentioned last month that the EPA has put out new regulations for lead service lines. Luckily, we have never come across a lead service line here in town. However, the EPA is mandating that every water district go through and create a database of all of the water service lines and all the materials that are utilized, not only in the homes, but actually it's out in the street. So we are going based off of the old data that we have as we've been making repairs in the streets, and we're hoping that that's enough. EPA may find that that's not acceptable, and they may want us to dig it up and actually confirm each individual one. But that decision won't be made until after 2024, when the deadline is, and we'll see how things go from there. All right. Lastly, the new computer was delivered and installed, and all the software and data files were transferred, and thank the supervisor for initiating that. It's very nice to be able to turn that on the computer and actually do work right away, than turning it on, walking away, going outside for a little bit, coming back in, and then having it ready for us. But it's been wonderful, and it's been seamless so far. Knock on wood. So that's it for the water.
That's it. Thank you, Ray.
Recreation Department, Michael Cooper's not here. Did everybody receive his
I did,
Yes.
yeah. They're busy.
They're extremely busy.
This
He
is their
was-
year.
He
this time
was
of year.
looking for the approvals for the summer beach help.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a
I'll
second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then he was also looking for approval for the one-time fee for rights to the
Julian Diamond
silhouette.
photo. Yeah, the
Yes.
Julian Diamond, I'll make that motion.
That'll be a one-time fee of $500.
And then we use it as much as we
We
want.
can use as much as you want.
That's
second
10.
that.
Yeah. It's 10.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It's as much as we want, so I'll vote for it. I just honestly think it's worn out in my mind. You know, it's a good image. It was very impressive at the beginning, but I would like to see an image change. I don't want to have I refer to it as a Halloween image, you know, all summer long, or whatever. So it's not a bad idea to have it, because it is rather unique, but I'm not totally in favor of it becoming our official emblem.
Animal control report.
I saw it.
I saw that.
Still driving miles even with gas prices going up.
Do we have, anybody got any old business?
Well, we got from, I guess from Warren's office, some statutes from having to do with the
With food
food truck
trucks.
statute and a noise ordinance statute. And I don't know if we want to do anything about that. Personally, I have no problem with doing a food truck ordinance, except that it hasn't really been a problem. So do we have to address something? It hasn't been a problem, or are we ahead of the curve and it's going to be a problem? I don't know. I'm not interested in dealing with the noise ordinance.
Neither am I, because that's when you get into people mowing their lawns too late.
There's
What if they
just so
don't have
many
time?
issues that we
There's
haven't
just
had it,
so
and-
many, yes.
And I don't want to go further with noise, but I'm perfectly happy to discuss the food truck if people think it's a problem. I personally don't think we need it right now.
I don't
But-
think we needed it
So,
either right now.
I did look at those.
Well, the reason for the
statutes.
food truck thing though is like if the recreation department wants to have an event down there and they were talking about having food truck vendors come in,
Yeah,
like, do we just issue them like a 1-day permit? Cause like, you know, the hot dog cart.
It would be the same way that the hot dog cart is as right now. They would just get their permit.
Well, they
Get a
had to come
1-day
in, they
permit.
had to get fingerprints and stuff like that. So
Well,
what
I-
if it's a
that-
1-day thing and our town hall's closed
Yeah,
and
I
they
think
can't?
that's more of an event issue than it is.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying that, but
No, but my whole thing is just to have it in place just in case an event like that, something does happen like that. And what if there's a last minute vendor who couldn't get their fingerprints?
I just don't like causing extra problems.
Okay.
I like food trucks and I don't see them as being a big.
No, I
problem
like them too.
because they have to be, the Board of Health has to approve them. If the Board of Health is going to approve them, I'm going to buy from them. So
Correct.
whatever.
Anybody else on that? Any other old business?
so we can get copies of one.
I don't have any.
Yeah.
I got them.
Oh, I got them.
I got them. All right.
The food truck,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I did not receive.
Here, I read mine done.
I
I'll
read mine
get a
too.
copy.
Oh, I think that was from Mr. Finley. That was from Matt Finley that he was sending to Warren. That was
Okay, so
from Red
that's-
Hook.
Yes. Oh, that came
Those
through
were-
Matt?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's why we didn't receive it. It didn't directly come from one.
Scott wants to say something.
This is my official hat on the Board of Assessment Review, just reminding taxpayers, next Tuesday is grievance day. If you are concerned about your assessment, you should go see the assessor and make an appointment. And, come to the Board of Assessment Review.
Thank you, Scott.
New business, I just want to touch on for the park in the center of town. Fair, I believe it is correct. Did I say that
Yes.
correctly? Submitted a request to get 2 teak outdoor benches and 6 style teak chair outdoor armchairs for a total of $4,352.46. This does have New York State tax on it, so it'll be minus the tax. So they are looking for a motion to,
Is that coming out of, do they still have money
Yes.
left from, okay.
yes.
I move that we authorize those purchases.
This is part of the discussion. You would also look at, comparable furniture or
Correct, but I don't think it was the exact same thing. I think it was a knockoff, that's why.
So the teak it will, if it's taken care of properly and oiled every year, the teak and brought in during the winter times, the teak furniture should have a very, very long life compared to normal outdoor furniture where it will get a little flimsy. So if it's high quality, which kind of sounds like it is. If it's, like if we can get somebody to oil it every year, it should last a very long time.
You made the motion,
I
sir?
did.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that should just about exhaust the money that they have.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like 10,000. Right.
Okay.
There was only a little under 7 before that.
Yeah.
Yes. Corinna's got a spreadsheet, so,
Okay, all right, we'll check it against the numbers we've been keeping.
because they submitted, I believe it was last month or the month before for the
Yes.
stone, and
Yeah.
that was over $2,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
We also have we need to accept this estimate to repair the tanks at the library that Crown Gas has submitted for $12,873.20. That's to pump the tanks out, dig them both up, and remove the vapor from them, replace the valves, and put the tanks back in the ground.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Just a couple questions.
Yep.
Which I just slipped me token. No, is there any insurance that we would have because at all that would cover the original?
We can look into that.
Okay, yeah. No, that would be my only concern. And then also, we're going to have to address the sidewalk.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Pending on, they have to remove the tanks. They're not exactly sure how far they're
Right.
under the sidewalk, if they are,
Yeah.
because of the way they are.
We gotta cut a curb in one of those sections anyway.
Let's do it at the same
time. You're not our engineer.
But Brian, if they do
He's
take out
here.
one, we have to
He's
cut a
here.
curb
He's
anyway.
here.
We have to fix the catch
For the
basin at
side.
some point, and
Before
if we have to do the sidewalk at the other, we may be able to sweeten that crosswalk deal.
Yeah, you may want to, while you're doing the crosswalks, do the basins as well as do the sidewalk. I don't think the catch basins weren't part of that original crosswalk.
No. Okay, I'm sorry.
But are we still under old business?
No, we
No,
have
we're
to
under
finish the
new
motion.
business.
Yeah, you gotta.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
And the other question comes, do we have, where are we gonna get the money from?
We're gonna have to look at that.
What's that?
We'll have to look at that.
Is that ARPA eligible?
Don't know about that.
Have to ask, Mike.
Yeah.
Offhand, I don't recall.
I'll call him tomorrow. Find out who's just here the other day. No, because I just got the estimate. Renewal of insurance. You guys got 2 quotes. The Emery and Webb is an insurance company we currently have and we've had for a while. They sent their renewal quote of $55,138.81. I reached out to Kellner Insurance Company out of Copic. They quoted us with a policy with more coverage, with a different company, higher rating. And they came in about $11,000 cheaper for more coverage and a higher rating as far as the company that we're dealing with. So we need to make a decision tonight on which company we would like to go to use.
Well, if we say the $11,000, that pays for the propane tanks. So I'm okay with, for the better coverage for the $11,000 less, I'm okay with the counter. I have no ties to, no allegiance.
We did reach out to locally, never got called back.
Yeah, it was too short notice, I think. Yeah.
I think we should go with the lesser amount.
Yeah.
I think it's time because we got stuck. You get stuck with the same person, this kind of revitalizes your thinking. So
Can I get a motion?
I would make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We did that royalty agreement
Mhm.
through recreation report. Um, we need to discuss, remember we were discussing as far as grant writing and everything. I spoke to Jen Blackburn. She's more than willing to do it as part of her beach duties for a little bit more money. So something we need to think about. She does it for the recreation now for free because she's on the committee.
Well, I think we ought to talk about it a little bit, just
Yeah.
to look at the scope of what it is and what we expect from it.
Yep.
Right. So we had hired a grant writer at one time, who was someone who was supposed to be out there looking for
Correct.
various grants, and so there are not, that's something that she wants to make part of the job. And I wouldn't mind it separating it from recreation and just give her a separate,
Okay.
you know, a separate kind of job rather than tying it to recreation. I think we ought to, you know, work on this a little bit more, come up with a job description, see where, and talk with
Absolutely.
her and see what she's interested in, what she expects from us.
Absolutely.
That sounds good. I'm
Yep.
certainly in favor of pursuing it.
Yeah,
Yep.
we need there's someone to keep their eyes out for stuff, but I mean, it is a skill.
Yeah, she's been writing them for the recreation. She's doing very well with them, so. All right, need a motion to go into an executive session to discuss personnel.
I'll move that motion.
Second, are we making any decisions?
No.
Okay, so we'll move to come back in
Aye.
and
I'll second.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
And I guess you can go
Aye.
home.
All of these are-